The Pacific region has become a diplomatic battleground of late, with the U.S. doubling down on its Indo-Pacific strategy. Concerns have been rising over China's security pact, as we heard just now, with the Solomon Islands. But Foreign Minister Wang Yi has dismissed speculation while on a trip there. He says Beijing has no intention at all to build a military base there. Mr. Wang will also be visiting 7 other Pacific nations: Kiribati, Samoa, Fiji, Tonga, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea and Timor-Leste. Olivia Xiong with this report.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi arrived in the Solomon Islands on Thursday, kicking off a 10-day-long Pacific tour. In a meeting with the acting Governor-General of the island nation, Mr. Wang said China respects the Solomons developing friendly relations with all countries, and in perhaps a veiled swipe at the U.S. and its allies, adding that he opposes all forms of hegemony and bullying, expressing hope that the bilateral relationship will become an example of China's ties with Pacific Island countries, vowing to help it improve the country's living standards. This comes as Chinese media have portrayed Mr. Wang's visit as offering South Pacific countries, quote, what the US and Australia failed to offer. Apart from building infrastructure and COVID-19 cooperation, just last month, China agreed to a security pact with the Solomons, sparking fears it could deploy troops to the island or establish a military base not far from Australia, although this has been denied by both countries. During his trip, Mr. Wang is also hoping to get more than 10 Pacific Island countries to sign onto a regional pact that will cover areas like security and fisheries, China hitting back at concern that this could spark a new Cold War. Now, analysts tell me the timing, though, of the trip can be seen as a clear counter to growing pressure from the United States.
It will not show that it will yield to such pressure. So I think this is a very significant change for China's diplomacy, because we all know that with the rise of China in recent years, China's foreign policy and diplomacy also becoming more aggressive to some extent. So we can see that China is already expanding its diplomatic influence in the countries where traditional powers used to have influence for many years.
This comes just shortly after a flurry of diplomatic activity by the U.S., with President Joe Biden's first visit to Asia, where he met Quad leaders and pushed forward the country's Indo-Pacific strategy, viewed as a key means of containing China. Olivia Xiong, CNA, Beijing.